Hi Malaika, it's Miss Strother, and I wanted to welcome you to your very first screencast of an essay. Here you are. This is your final exam essay draft, and the first thing I'm going to do actually is take it, Control A, Control C, and move it into a Word document. So this way I can play with it and I won't mess up anything that you have done on it so far. And I can see first off, so I'm going to go through sort of the basic formatting things that I can already see right as I look at it and can kind of help you make it better. So the first thing you want to do is push Control A, change it into Times New Roman up at the top, and 12-point font. So for MLA formatting, you always want to have it done that way. Now you want to have a title right here in the center. So this is very good. This as MLA formatting, you've got it good. Some teachers are going to ask you to actually write out the date, but because everybody does it differently, I'm not going to worry about it. But the way you create a title is by going to the center there and finding this button up at the top where it's a center text. When you're doing it in Word, you can push Control E, but you're using Google Drive, it's a little bit different. So come up with a creative title. Give me a creative title here. And when you start a paragraph, you always want to indent. And by indent, I mean you push the button that says Tab on the top left of your keyboard. Okay, and then I can see that we have right here, you want to make sure that the Odyssey is always italicized, and you can italicize it, and same thing with the Lightning Thief, just by highlighting it and pushing Control I. If you're working on it while you're working on it on your computer, you can just push Control I, write out the Odyssey, and then push Control I again. So it's really easy to do while you are working. Okay, and again, this needs to be indented. It looks like your parenthetical in-text citations are beautiful. That seems like, yeah, a little bit too much space. But here you go, indent, indent, beautiful citations. Now make sure here you do not have contraction, so it should say does not. And again, I'm just going through basic things that I see as I'm going down. Indent. Okay, and I don't see a works cited list, which is fine. For now, you'll want to make sure that you get that into your final, and you are on your third page, which is fine for your draft, so you get the point for that. And your, let's see, your quotations are good. You want to fix those contractions. You have, let's see, oops. Sorry, you have a good MLA format, but you do need the meaningful title. Okay, so you get 2 points for that. Yeah, pretty much. You knew what you were doing. So make sure that this does not have any bold or underline or anything, the title. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out loud your introduction, one of your body paragraphs, and your conclusion. And I can already see that one of your body paragraphs you really want to add on to, and that will help you get your full 3 to 5 pages, and I think, or full 3 pages of text, excuse me, possibly even more. And I'm going to give you some ideas for how you can do that in each paragraph by using one body paragraph as an example. So I'm going to start with your introduction. Here we go. Monsters that are in literatures come in different varieties. How about if we just say literature? You can say stories, or you can say literature. They grab readers' attention and make readers engage, maybe we want to say with the story. And usually it's not so much active as like making as much as helping. I know we talked about that, so I really like this, the way you have this, but I might actually put these into one sentence. So monsters that are in literature come in different varieties. Oh no, I see. They have to be separate. That's good. Okay, moving on. Monsters are frightening, comma, and monsters can be Mixes of gods, humans, or animals. That is probably the best thing about monsters. One piece of literature that has monsters in it is the Odyssey by Gareth Hines, which is based on Homer's epic poem. Very nice. Other pieces of literature are Oedipus by Sophocles, The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan, and The Monsters in My Closet by Phil Bolsta. Okay. This is one place you're going to extend your essay. When I said to introduce each story and their author, what you want to do is actually write one sentence for each piece of literature. So, for the Odyssey, you could say one piece of literature that has monsters in it is the Odyssey by Gareth Hines, which is based on Homer's epic poem. In this epic, Odysseus, and you could say encounters obstacles and maybe monsters and other obstacles along his 20-year journey home from the war at Troy. So I just gave you a sentence. Usually you would not separate them. So you would say Oedipus by Sophocles, and you would say what Oedipus by Sophocles has in it, what it's about, etc. So write one sentence for each story, and that will not only extend your essay, but this way you are introducing the stories in your introduction, which is extremely important because then you are spending less time telling the story in your body paragraphs. All of the storytelling should be happening in your introduction. Okay. So, let's see. All these pieces of literature have monsters in them, but with different characteristics and different ways of how they affect the characters in the story. Lovely, lovely. The archetype of monsters affects the characters' actions in the Odyssey, Oedipus, the Lightning Thief, and the Monsters in My Closet. Beautiful. Now, you want to put the commas and the periods inside the parentheses. Couldn't explain to you why you need to do that, but it's just the formatting, the way we do it. Okay, the archetype of monsters affects the character's actions in the Odyssey. Again, we're going to italicize that. Odysseus thought of a plan to escape from the Cyclops, Polyphemus. Now, Cyclops, I know that a lot of times Word wants to fix it, but it is a lowercase c. And here, I think you could actually do a colon because you're going straight into the quote. There was a massive staff of green wood lying in the cave, and I whittled this down to a sharp point and hid it in the back of the cave. I picked 4 of my strongest men to help me wield it when the time came. Since the monster ate his men, Odysseus tried to take revenge by poking his eye out with the wood. Odysseus wanted to kill this. Okay, so this is a perfect place to put in some additional analysis because you've got an awesome example here. Your example is all about how Odysseus had to react. He had to act a certain way in order to survive, in order to save his men. He really did. So that goes right back to your topic sentence, which is really also your thesis statement. And so this is a perfect place to say Odysseus originally wanted to just meet the person who owned this cave. He said to his men they would be received well, they would get hospitality, and his men said, no, let's go, and he decided to stay anyway. However, he found out that the Cyclops was not who he did not act the way he expected. Therefore, his actions were changed completely. He could no longer act the way he wanted to or what he expected to do. He now had to be violent in order to save his men and himself from dying. So you can add in a sentence or two right there where I put those stars to really talk about that, to analyze it and to connect it back to your topic sentence, to your thesis really well. Okay, let's move on. Odysseus wanted to kill, maybe we'll say he also, okay, fine, that's fine. Odysseus wanted to kill the 6-headed monster to save his men. Make sure you're changing that to 6-headed like that. why? What was the deal? I think when you're giving your background information, you want to give a little bit more. So you can say something like, Odysseus had to go through this one pass and knew that he had to fight the six-headed monster, but he knew he couldn't save his men. Or I guess if you're going to use this quote, how can I kill this Scylla and save my men? Surely she has a weakness. What you can say is that Odysseus looked for ways, or Odysseus was having a conversation. That's what you want to do. Odysseus learned from Circe that he would encounter the Scylla, the six-headed monster, on his way home. But his first action, go back to your thesis, his first action is to ask how to avoid killing his men. You then give the quote, and then use this, what you just said. To protect his men from Scylla, Odysseus became a killer. Perfect. There wasn't anything he could do in order to save them, and he was scared, but he, for the first time, so the actions that he changed were for the first time, he did not tell his men what was coming. He did not tell them that at least 6 of them were going to die. And the other action is that he made them row away from a monster. He did not engage with the monster. He didn't fight the monster. He didn't kill the monster. It's the only time in the whole story that he doesn't kill a monster because he can't. He knows he can't. And because Circe told him that he can't. So there are several ways that he is affected or his actions are changed by the character there. So you want to work on that. Okay, I love that you have 3 quotations in here. I want to see tiny bit more background information and a lot more analysis. Analysis meaning the part where you connect it back to your thesis statement. Now, I need to move because of time. I need to move to your conclusion. Okay, the archetype of monsters affects the character's actions in the Odyssey, again, italicize. Oedipus, again, move the comma. The lightning thief, italics. And the monsters in my closet, change the period. In the Odyssey, since the monster ate his men, Odysseus took revenge by poking Polyphemus' eye with a sharp wood. In Oedipus, Oedipus answered, maybe in Oedipus, the main character answered the Sphinx's riddle to get through the gate. In The Lightning Thief, make sure you've got that capitalized too, the monster that Percy encountered affected his actions. Let's take out this comma because you don't usually say it that way. In The Monsters in My Closet, the monsters help the monster or monsters? Monsters help the character clean her room, and she gives the monsters food. In conclusion, authors create these works to show how the main characters respond to their challenges. Cool. Very cool. Let's go on. Let's extend that. To show how the main characters respond to their challenges, and for readers to get an idea about how to respond to challenges in their own lives. That's my thought. You can put in there whatever you want, whatever makes sense to you. But Malaika, you are writing in a way that is very organized and beautiful and clear. And that is the most difficult thing, is to be organized and to be clear. So most of what I'm seeing is either kind of basic formatting stuff that we haven't spent too much time on in your class, but also that pushing up to the next level, to the more of the honors level analysis style. So go ahead and work on that. Add in your analysis, those connecting pieces back to your thesis for each of your paragraphs. Certainly add on to this one. Let me know if you have any questions or if there are any ways that I can support you on this. And I look forward to reading your revision.